What is up, everybody? I'm back at it again with the one and only Johnny Dunn, VV OG, half alien, drop master, golf master, you name it. This guy's my boy. We've known each other since day one. Bro, thanks so much for coming back on.
Man, I appreciate you having me on, Pirates. It's been a while since we linked back up, and it's just great to see you, my man. I like this new setup you got going and everything. Good to see that. Good to see that for sure.
Appreciate that, bro. I'm trying to act professional, even though I've never used a mic like this or had a setup
Sounds
like this.
professional.
That's all that matters, right? I feel like we're both taking this a lot more seriously now, and well, more me because you've been at this since day one. You're Mr. Consistent. I've fallen off a few times, come back, but bro, you've been at it like each and every day.
Hey, man. I mean, I know you had a lot of real life things to take care of at the time too. So I mean, it's not like you really fell off or anything like that.
Yeah.
And you took care of some real life things. So it's nothing, to be ashamed of at all. But yeah, man, it's been a grind ever since. It's been a year now. We just talked a little bit backstage, a year birthday, my year anniversary, whatever you want to call it, the VEVE birthday. Unbelievable. I just can't believe it. I was just saying to you, like, I keep saying to people, it feels like just a few months ago or just a handful of months ago I joined. And then you think about it, it's like, it's actually been a full year now, over a year. And whew, we've seen a lot of cycles, man.
Bro, we've seen a lot of cycles. First of all, congrats on the VV birthday, man, because I remember, mine's still a few days away, but yeah, like, and we've seen cycles. Like with only a year, we've probably been like through what, 5 or 6 up and down cycles?
So many, man. I mean, just
Yeah.
from the time when we all witnessed everything started to sell out in the market. I mean, that was a unbelievable time. We start to refresh the screen. Oh, 5,000 are left, 4,000 pots are left.
Yeah.
People are saying they would never sell out. So I remember that part of the cycle. I remember the part when they finally sold out. People were saying, yeah, but they're not real NFTs. They'll never get above $1,000. So like, we've just been part of so many cycles, and it helps us out because of the experiences like we've seen now in the market.
Right.
A lot of people get scared, but I think we both can touch on that. We've seen ups and downs with VeVe, and it's all about staying convicted. So
Yeah, and that's one thing that you've done so well is stay convicted. And I think a lot of people have fallen off at the wrong time, especially during these FUD cycles. And if I think about it, like, not even 6 months ago, like a Secret Rare Spider-Man was $1,600. And now people are like, VeVe's going to shit, but I'm like, Spider-Man's 40 grand. Like it's still a 20x or whatever. Like, what I'm trying to say? So if you're willing to wait another year from now, what kind of iteration are we going to see then? Right.
absolutely, man. And then you hit the nail on the head. And especially because, a lot of the utility hasn't even been announced with a lot of these big time brands. Like we've only seen like hints and teasers about these artist collectibles that have, utility. Imagine what Disney has planned. Imagine what Marvel has planned behind the scenes,
Right.
A couple of years down the line. And like you said, people say things have crashed, but Secret Spider-Man's still over 30 grand. Like,
Yeah.
unbelievable. It's just part of the ebb and flow, I always say.
Yeah, and I think it's also like good education for people, when you're seeing something moon, not to buy in at the top of the mountain, because I think it's almost like reverse psychology. Like like whenever I see the whales sell, Johnny, that's when I know it's time to sell.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, sometimes people just join in like mid-January, perfect example. A lot of new people join in January that run up, and that's when I was getting a lot of questions. What should I look into? What should I look into? And that's when I was really starting to really think about, wow, this is crazy psychology. Just a few weeks ago, months ago, I was pointing out things in the market, maybe a target, but things were stagnant. Things were kind of low, not really moving. Wasn't too much, many questions then. But as soon as the all-time high hits, that's when a lot of people FOMO in and what should I grab? And I always try to tell people, look at some previous charts. There's a lot of people in the community who make charts, and that way you can tell if you're buying a collectible at its all-time high. And if you can't get involved in any kind of charts or anything like that, just tune into YouTubers who have the experience, like yourself and a bunch of other ones out there, and ask questions, because that way we can let people know, things are at all-time highs right now. Maybe, there could be a retracement. If you have duplicates, could be in, a great time to maybe, let one or two go type thing, instead of chasing that FOMO feeling, because it is psychology, man. When things are running up, people want to grab those collectibles, but it's like, they were just so low a little bit ago.
It's so true, man. And I think the hardest part is like every now and then you could be right, because if you bought something while it was mooning in January and you rode that wave till the end of January, you like, I think Todd went from 1,600 or like, no, 3,200 to like 13,000 in like 3 or 4 weeks.
Just kept
right?
going.
Like that's just ridiculous, you know? So sometimes it is difficult because you're like, well, I know it's gonna run, so let me try to jump on. But then like you never know when the train's gonna stop moving, right?
Right, right. And I got caught up in that a little bit too. Even experienced person like myself, I didn't do the best at letting go as many duplicates as I should have.
Yeah.
And you're right. There was a point in the market where you could have literally just, close your eyes and thrown a dart at something, and a week later it was going up. It was just unbelievable. And I think that, was an experience that everybody should really pay attention to, because that feeling will probably come back again. That's one thing that we've kind of learned with VeVe is anything that's happened before will probably happen again. Like opportunities, Marvel Comics #1 under retail.
Right.
A lot of us, capitalized on it. Some of us didn't. And we're always like, when's that new opportunity coming? And so next drop, a couple months later, we have a couple under retail again items. So not comparing these to Marvel Comics #1, obviously, but
Yeah.
I don't think things are going to always stay under retail. The DeLorean Common, another example, like things under retail usually don't stay under retail for months.
Such a good point, man. And I think there's some new grails that we have currently in the app, like that Austin Martin,
Ooh.
James Bond car. I'm like 500 and something editions for the secret rare. I'm like, dude, like that's a huge asset to hold on to. And it's like, that's the kind of asset that when another, boom cycle comes, potentially that's going to do a 4X from here. You know what I mean? So it's hard to predict, right?
Absolutely is hard to predict. And
Yeah.
especially the $1,000 retail, that should, expect to do pretty well. And I think that kind of scared a lot of people, the $1,000 retail. And even I was kind of blown away. That was the most expensive one we've seen.
Right.
But again, VeVe is always changing. So you kind of got to adapt with it. And I think the main reason for that one is just because, Aston Martin, a luxury high end brand, they probably had a lot to do with that one. They probably didn't want to dilute their brand by having something that everybody can afford. And so I was just lucky I was able to snipe one. I know you mentioned it to me. You were like, wow, dude, great steal in the market.
1953, right? The mint?
Yup, 1953. Oh,
That's ridiculous.
I didn't know it was that crazy at the time, to be honest. That's the year that the first ever James Bond book was published. And I saw that in the market, right? So I got to 1,000 gems for that drop later in the day. And it was right after that first drop happened. I missed that drop. One of the few that I missed recently.
I noticed that.
Unbelievable, right? Been on a crazy hot streak. And so I had 1,000 gems in my wallet, getting ready for the next drop. I was just going to chill out. I missed that drop. I did want to pick it up in the market. It was kind of like around the $700 range right there, right when it dropped. And I saw 1953 kind of near the floor. And so I was like, wow, that's my dad's birth year. My dad's born in 1953. I have a couple other 1953 collectibles too. So that just stood out right away to me. I was like, oh, and it was only like 800, like 200 above the floor. In my eyes, I thought this car was going to be over 1,000 or like near 1,000. So
Same.
I was like, you know what? Boom, I bought it. And it felt important too. And now that was a gut decision to where I've made wrong gut decisions before, and I made great ones, made bad ones. But so that was a gut decision where it kind of had a lot to do with my dad's birth year on it. Boom, felt important, bought it. My heart's like racing. I'm like, oh my gosh, this feels kind of crazy right now. Google it, find out that's a year. I'm like, oh my gosh. Woo, my heart was racing even more. I couldn't believe it. Didn't have the gems for the next drop, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it anyway in case you get lucky. Didn't get lucky, but man, I look back now. That's like one of my favorite collectibles. Maybe just right now, like temporarily. But because of that mint number, man, I look at that Aston Martin all the time in my showroom. I've made it like as part of my centerpiece in a lot of my showrooms too. Wow. Woo, man, I like that one.
It's sexy, man, and there's like such few of them as well, which I love. And bro, you made some crazy good moves this year because I've been tracking you on Twitter and Instagram and what have you. The other move that you made that was killer, I think you sold off a Pride or one or two Prides for 2 waltz or something.
Yeah, man,
that was a killer move.
I'll talk about this one too because this is probably going to go down as like probably my best move in 2021. Like I'll talk about some other bad ones that I made real quick. Like I stacked the wrong comic book. So before I had any kind of comic knowledge, I depleted a lot of my duplicates. Like I had like 40 or 30 Marvel Mighties, Captain America FAs, had like 7 or 8 FA Jokers. I depleted a lot of those, unfortunately, FA Harley Quinns for my first Walt. I sold a lot of those duplicates to get my first Walt at like 2,900. It was running away from me and I was like, oh, I got to try to hurry up and grab one. Sold a lot of my duplicates that I love to grab it. And then So I was trying to like kind of recoup a lot of duplicates. I was like, all right, what's like my next kind of stack here? I just ruined a bunch of them, and don't pick a stack to go all in on before you have any kind of knowledge. This is kind of like my gut feeling. Made a bad decision here, stacked like 40 Incredible Hulk common comics at like
Nice.
11, 15, even like I think like even a little bit more than $15. Not the best decision of mine. So that was like my mistake right there, stacking the wrong comic book. But so I had the wallet at 2,900. I sold a lot of my big duplicates to get that. And in this moment, I had two Givenchy's Da Vinci posters. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, why is Givenchy $1,000 more than Walt Disney here? I know it's got a little bit less editions, but the gold Walt Disney to me was just like sticking out. It was like iconic part of history. That week was incredible, you know? And so gut decision, I had to pounce on it quick. I put my Givenchy up for sale for 4K, 4.1K. It was the floor at the time. And I'm watching just Walt run up now. I'm just watching. I'm like, oh my gosh, come on, sell, sell, sell. And it's not selling. Walt's like 3.3K right now, 3.4. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's getting bought. I'm nervous right now. And then finally it sells 4K. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, boom. Went to Walt, didn't even like think or anything, just bought the first one. It was the last one in the 3K range. It was 3.6K. And then the rest was like 4K. And so my heart was racing again at the time. It was like right before I went to bed. And especially because this is like kind of big money for me too, you know, like I never really had too much money. So I'm kind of making, you know, big decisions here. And I woke up in the morning, Walt's like 9K or like 10K. And I'm like,
God.
oh yes. Whew. Like I could breathe, like a weight off my shoulders. Like, and then to top it off, you know, Walt got up to like 12K. And I'm like, all right, my gut decision's kind of coming back here. My gut feelings like, do I sell that duplicate Walt to go back on two Givenchy's now? And I was thinking, and I couldn't do it. I really wanted to, but I didn't. My gut wasn't like that. If I always say to myself, if I'm not like all in on this decision, I won't do it. Maybe it's right or wrong, but I'll feel better not doing it. And so, because even if that was the wrong decision, I felt like it was the right one. So I was willing to like be wrong. But this one, I didn't feel right on it, so didn't do it. And then the next day or two goes by, Walt goes from 12 to like 30K. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, again. Oh my gosh, because I'm like so close to making these other decisions, and I didn't. And so those will go down as like my best legendary iconic move.
Whenever I see you now, like flash your Waltz, I'm like, what, you know, now I know the story.
Right.
I'm like,
right.
and bro, with the golden dragon girls behind it, and then the Waltz, I'm like, I'm coming to your mansion in the VeVe verse, bro.
Bro, I appreciate that, man. It's one of those things where like I am proud of it, man. Like I show them off, and like that kind of money would do a lot for me right now in the real world, you know, like,
Yeah.
And like, I talk to my parents all the time. I'm like, you know, like, are you guys like, should I, you know, think about, you know, letting one of these go for like 30K? Like, and they're like, no, we don't need the money right now. I'm like,
Yeah.
I love you guys. Like, or, you know, like, you know, they have full belief too. And it's like, our vision hasn't changed. So like, I'm not even one of those people to where I feel risky to where like I have to take my initial investment out. Like, I'm willing, you know, I'm having fun with this. I believe in it fully. And so
Yeah.
maybe like along the way, I do one or two, you know, cash out a little bit, but I'm holding for the long term, man. I believe in this for decades. I really do believe VeVe is going to be here for the long term.
Dude, and this is why I admire you so much. Like I was saying to you, you know, backstage, you are my favorite influencer in the VeVe space. And
Let's go.
And it's just because you're so genuine and you've been so consistent, and you know, you're just like really sharing your true story. And like, you know, so many people kind of, you know, utilize different platforms for their advantage, and you can kind of weed out who's here for the right reasons and wrong. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, the majority, if not 99% of all the VeVe people are terrific.
Right.
But I just meant like you could see that passion run through you, you know?
Right.
And like that's what's so cool about this is, you know, this isn't just like something that is a hype project or an investment project. This is a collecting app for collectors. And with this OUP article coming out and like the renting aspects, like Johnny, that's, you know, that's all passive income for you in the future, bro.
Right, man. And you know what's crazy too, Pirates, is that my parents, like they see the vision too. Like they understand it. And I'm so fortunate because like, you know, I have older parents. And so it was kind of hard, especially for my dad to understand like any digital concept. Like they're against cell phones, like talk about like digital Batman. They're like, what are you talking about? You know, like my mom and my grandmom too. They're like kind of computer savvy, so they kind of understand. And I think because of that, mixed with like their teaching background, my grandma had to do with like she worked with banks when she was before she was retired. So the combination of everything just kind of like made sense to them to where they see where this is going in the future.
Right.
And so it could be a passive income stream, and they understand that too. Like and so they don't want to like ruin that opportunity for me later in the future, because they do believe in that for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Man, that's great news. And I think that's the most exciting part for me is I keep saying to people, you know, I'm not concerned because it's not as if we're going more and more to the physical world. We're going more and more into the digital. Digital assets are going to become more and more mainstream. NFTs, you know, metaverses, interoperability, like all this stuff is just, you know, getting enhanced. Now we're seeing, like, I was even reading the other day, like, you know, Zynga Games and Take-Two Interactive. They recently, Take-Two Interactive recently acquired Zynga, and they're responsible for like Grand Theft Auto and stuff. And there was an article saying that they're coming out with NFTs, bro. Like they've got something coming in the background, right? And I'm like, dude, like all the big money and the big players are slowly like you know, investigating this space and going, okay, now is our time to pounce. And I keep thinking to myself, like, what the hell do you think a secret rare Spider-Man like with 1,000 editions is going to be worth when, you know, half the world's involved in this crap, you know?
It's unbelievable to think about that. And the fact that Grand Theft Auto is even thinking about it, because you already know like that whole metaverse in Grand Theft Auto right now is already huge. There's already virtual worlds with houses and you can have digital stuff.
Yeah.
Now, obviously there's a big difference there because you don't technically own it, I believe, and you can take it out, and you know, you don't have those ownership of the licensed brands like Batman, Marvel. Now, they probably will. That's probably where they're going in the future with it. And so that's
Yeah.
amazing just to see something like that, because I mean, I do, and even Dan Crothers, you know, David Hughes, they've talked about it, which is so genius too. They put in like a backdoor way, a hybrid to make this all interoperable when the day comes, because they knew that, you know, they wanted that closed ecosystem to make the brands feel safe and everything. But they made the hybrid back end way because they knew at the end of the day, you know, years, whether it's 3 years, 5 years,
Yeah.
it's all going to be interoperable. So it's just
Yeah.
amazing to be part of the team, you know, with, I mean, well, part of like the whole VeVe journey with an amazing team like Dan, David, like geniuses, legends, and just the people that they've hired, like Alex along the way, Reese, you know,
Yeah.
everybody, man. It's been such an incredible journey from the beginning, man.
It's true. And it's so funny because when we first started, bro, like there was so many loopholes that they had to jump through then, and they have. And so now I'm like, okay, yeah, there's still things that are outstanding. For instance, like Omi to NFT, or, you know, getting the MTL fully, you know, in effect, or the VeVeVerse. But I'm like, we also were at a point where they were told us that they weren't real NFTs. You know, the cash out wasn't even a thing. It wasn't even on a significant blockchain. It wasn't necessarily carbon neutral at the time. Like there's so many things that they've built. And like, imagine if they're telling you that pipe dream back then when we only had 15,000 users and we believed in it.
Right. Like,
Right.
that's the thing too. Like, just to touch on that, like we were here less than 10,000 users on the app, bro,
Yeah.
total. Like for people listening, like less than 10,000 users total on the app. That's like, we were here when Todd McFarlane Batman had more editions like than anybody on the app. Like that's
Yeah.
unbelievable to think about. So like we had to deal with the FUD of buying that Batman, people telling us like, what are you doing? That'll never sell out. Then once it's sold out, like what do you keep buying them for? You know, these aren't even real NFTs on a real blockchain. We're on Go Chain, like you said. And it's like, okay, that was one hurdle that the team had to, you know, overcome. Then, you know, first of all, they expected 30,000 total people on the app year one. We got to end of March and there's like 180,000 users.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, okay, what do we do now? So now they had to kind of, that was another hurdle, you know. People said, oh, it's ruined, you know. So they had to, you know, delay some things, of course, that pissed people off, but you know, they had to re-engineer the app to make it sustainable. And
Yeah.
I just feel like when you have a team like they do right now, you know, I've done a lot of fantasy drafts, and if I was to do a fantasy NFT draft, those would be the people I would draft right away on my first pick. I'm grabbing David Yu, Dan Crothers. Give me 2 people at once.
Buddy, for sure. It's
Like,
Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. Like, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. And one thing I did want to pick your brain about is like scalability, because right now, like if for instance, like on drops, right there, I can't really get drops now. Like I don't, sometimes I don't even try. I when I watch your channel, I have better luck, but there's that issue for me.
isn't that crazy? Just real quick, like for some
Yeah.
reason, people who watch like there's been tons of people who literally just tune into the live streams. They're like, all right, we need the JD luck, and then like they'll get a job. And I'm like, what? Like what's going on here? But yeah,
Bro, every time I tune into your stuff, I always land. So it's funny because I follow your coordination. The only thing is that it's delayed, right? So like when you're actually pressing the drop, it's already 15 seconds, be like whatever delay. So I have to like, but the good thing that you do is you like rediscuss the strategy. You're like, remember when it's 0-0, then buy now, right? That because I forget that sometimes, I'll tap it too early or too late.
Yeah, that's kind of the downside when you try to only do it once. Like if you mess up that timing because you're not spamming it, you're only like geared to do it one time. Like if I mess it, or if I'm too early, I'm like, oh, like you don't really have a chance if you miss it the first time. So that's kind of the downside of trying to time it once. But man, it feels so good that I will say that it feels amazing when you do get it, because you are just timing it. Like Comics and Crypto just hit Sean, and like he sent me a DM or put it in the group or whatever. He's like, dude, I just hit. Feels amazing. Like something about it, it just feels like you're sniping it, And man, like some people have the rebound timing down, because I feel like that kind of revolves some kind of timing too. I don't.
It's every 4 minutes, right?
Every 4 minutes, but then like people say like some phones you do a second early, like half a second. So like I don't have that timing down. I don't go for the rebounds that much. That's probably why.
Yeah, because you're landing it at the beginning. What's the point? Unless you're going for 2. Yeah. But bro, like, so, that's first of all, if you haven't, gone and subscribed to Johnny's channel, make sure to go tune in, watch the lives. They're amazing. And, talking about this stuff, man. So the biggest issue that I'm seeing now is like scalability, because I'm like, okay, fewer people get drops, but they have to ensure that there's collectability, because you can't just have 100,000 editions everybody gets. It's worth nothing. But then at the same time now, like to get into some of these grail pieces or like good pieces are very expensive. So like imagine if you and I joined now, like would you still inject like 5 to 10K cash? Because what we did with 5 to 10K, back a year ago is now probably got us hundreds of thousands of gems at least. And it's like, okay, so what does that do now? And could that be a deterrent for people? And then the other thing is like with Master Collector program coming out, with whales and people with more NFTs getting more points and potentially having more success on a drop, is that a further deterrent for new users? And so I guess my question is like, are we like kind of getting at a max point now, or could we see the 2 million go to 10 million? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's definitely a great point to touch on there. And I definitely see us getting to 10 million this year too. And the reason why I say that is because I think the drop system is kind of, I would say like almost stagnant the way it is right now. Like as a new user, it does deter a lot of new people coming back because they're frustrated they can't get the drop. And so I think they do want to kind of make it that family oriented, fun vibe, because I think of it like a family. If I was with my mom, my brother's kids, etc., to try to explain to them, all right, like my drop technique to do it like one time, like that kind of is like ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
they kind of want to have like a fun atmosphere. And so I think the queue system will deliver that. It will, the waiting room system, if it's like a couple minute waiting room system, if they do it like a 30-minute waiting room system, I think that's going to be too long. But if they keep it like, a couple minutes to 5 minutes or something like that, it kind of makes sure you're there on time type thing. And then if you do get one, that'll be exciting. A lot of people I think will strike out though, because there's just going to be hundreds of thousands of people in that waiting room. So I think a lot of people that are kind of waiting for that might be a little bit upset because they don't get it as much.
Right.
Now, the Master Collector program, that's going to help out the collectors. That's going to help out the whales, obviously, but the collectors too. I mean, it's going to put a value on things that aren't so valuable. So I look at like the stamps, for example, the Santa stamps. It's a 4 collectible set right now. They're pretty low, but if you're into the stamps, you're going to collect the stamps because you like them. That's going to give you a decent amount of Master Collector program points. That's going to help you get the new drops in the future. Maybe I think that the MCP could help people's kind of focus on things that they like a little bit more because of that reason. Now with the new drop system, the Q system, that's how I see them kind of expanding, only because nobody's gonna have as much fun, getting the drops if they can't get the drops.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's just that simple. Like so many times they see, there's a lot of like frustration in the community right now, especially because they see the same people getting the drops over and over. Johnny wins again,
Half alien, baby.
yeah. And
Yeah.
like that's just me having fun with it. Like I say, like
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of like my inner belief saying like that humans are kind of half alien. Like that's why I kind of say it too. It's just something that I've always kind of believed. And then I've always felt like I was a little bit different than most people. So like I always say like I'm kind of alien.
Like it.
But yeah, I feel like the Q system is probably going to help expand the company, but also there's just going to be more to do on the app. Like all we have is just the drops right now. So that's all the attention everybody's focused on. But soon I think it's going to be like different things you can do, activities, whether that's games or just different things going on, attractions, to where it's going to really be like a place to where people just hang out.
Right.
Imagine instead of YouTube, you could watch the drop shows on the VeVe app in like my showroom or stuff like that. Like it'd be kind of hard to imagine, but just the sky's the limit type thing, to where I think the drops will continue to be just part of it. That's kind of how they're going to expand. That's how I see it.
I love it, Johnny, man. And that's the one thing that I'm most excited for is like hanging out with you in the VV verse in like a Batman cave with all the Batmans lined up, different serials, discussing the new movie, meeting new people in the community and having this like integration where it's not just, through Twitter spaces or replying on Twitter or Discord. It's like very interactive and immersive. And like I feel like that's where all these things that you're holding, man, like are going to be worth just like 10x. It's like all of a sudden you got renting some out for games, renting other ones out for showrooms, have you some of them in your house, some of them you're selling off, you're rebuying, like
Right.
just the possibilities are endless, right, bro?
Absolutely. And just like you said, man, I mean, the more immersive, like I think it's just going to be a conversation piece too. It's going to be a way to break the ice with so many new people. Like you're into Batman 2 or you're into Superman 2. Like, how'd you get this piece? Talk about my experience. Like this is the first, like the Nightwing. This is my first ever drop. I was able to get 2 of them. My drop conspiracy started my first drop ever on VeVe. I got 2 Nightwing. Like the people, like you guys know how hard it was to get a drop back down. Like, it crashed on the app, and like how crazy I was, like, to go over. I mean, a lot of people know my Nightwing story already, but all right, so it was supposed to happen at 11 a.m. Eastern time, like usual, or 12. We all get on the app. There's the heavy load. There's too much traffic. It crashed the app. We put out a tweet like, all right, we delay 1 hour, go back up. And I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, this is my first drop ever. I didn't sleep the night before. I was up all night. I was excited. I couldn't sleep.
Bro, same.
That's how the drops were back then, man. They were so new. Like I didn't sleep. And so when they said they were delaying the drop, I was already on low sleep. So I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like I was going to pass out. So I'm setting alarms on my phone. Like after the 1 hour, I woke up or whatever. I set alarms 5 minutes back to back, like just so I didn't like hit one and snooze and go off. I would doze off, wake up 5 minutes, check. It's still like delayed. I did the same thing like 2 or 3 times. And the last time, bro, it was just meant to be. I woke up before my 5-minute alarm, like a minute or 2 before. I checked the VeVe app. It's up. It's working. Boom. I get one. Boom. I try to get another one. I tried getting a third, and it said max two per count limit. I was like, oh my gosh. And there was one person in my hometown that I got into VeVe at the time. And so I was like, yo, his name's Joe. Joe Kelly. Shout out to my guy, Joe Kelly. And I was like, yo, Joe, it's working. Boom. He tried it real quick. He got a Nightwing. So I was like, let's go. And so I've gotten only one other person. He's still active. The other person's name is Tyler Gear. He's on Twitter as VeVe Chusk. But my other guy, Joe Kelly, he was the first person to get in. And he lives on his own. He lives with his wife out in Oregon, I think it is. And so he didn't have the money to keep putting in back then. He got like 5 or 6 collectibles and just held. It's like probably worth like 15K right now, 20K.
Solid.
And he only paid like 500, I think, back then.
It's wild, eh?
Yeah. So crazy. Like, that was the Nightwing story. But yeah, it's just a conversation piece, like you said. I mean, sky's the limit. I mean, Also, one thing that I'm really excited for, which I kind of hope happens soon, is like being able to have a little admission fee. Maybe I charge $1 or a gem to come in the showroom. So
Yeah.
that way, you know, when you, because I have a couple of showrooms that just I feel like are incredible, like took a lot of time. And shout out to the Vaultaholics out there
Yeah,
who
they're
do
crazy, eh?
incredible showrooms. Like
Yeah.
imagine being able to, you know, the people that have like a handful of showrooms charge a gem for each showroom, have a couple thousand people in there each week, and you're literally a professional vault builder at that point. Like,
Yeah. It's
so
true.
many
Like, I
things
mean,
can
if you think about
happen.
only 20 people or 25 people come to your showroom in one day, that's $25, $125, Monday to Friday. Like that already is nice little passive income for something that took you maybe an hour to build,
Right,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And to go off of that, I can't wait. We don't even have the web app yet. Like this is all just on the mobile.
Right.
Once we have the web app, there's so many things are gonna happen. My mind's going crazy right now. I can't even think. I can't even line them
Let me
all
write
up.
them all down. Let me get my notepad.
Yeah, live streaming, being able to build the showrooms, like live streaming them from scratch. Like the Vaultaholics will be able to, like I think of Ryan Romantech. Shout out to Ryan Romantech out there. Just
Yeah, he's
made his
nasty.
YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He can live stream. You know, I can't wait till I can do it. You know, live stream, building these showrooms from scratch. The web app's going to do so much. Allow NFT to or OMI to NFT, like because people are going to be able to convert their ETH to OMI, boom, to buy these NFTs. The web app will allow that. The
Right.
web app will allow cash out, limited money to flow in, not like a $600 max gem at a time. When you're like, think of Lewis, you know, like when he's
I
trying
feel
to.
bad for that guy. Like he had to go through so many loopholes in order to get that kind of money in. Same with Dr. Profit. Like you're right, man. Like if they had just their ETH sitting there and they can just do a quick transfer over, I mean, I don't even want to know the prices of where we'd be at now.
We're early, man. We're early.
Yeah.
And that's the buzz where we talked a little bit behind the before we launched or went live, you know. Early is being, you know, in the NFT space, in the NFT communities right now, saying we're early is that buzzword that
Yeah.
it's thrown around all the time. But it's good to remember that with all this FUD happening, it shows how early we are because people don't understand how value some of these really are. They don't understand what they're holding yet. Think of how many people sold their crypto punks in 2018, 2019, 2020, like before it got to the floor it is today. Like even look at Bitcoin, like it takes years sometimes before these things really come to where they're supposed to go. It's just,
Right.
can you hold, how long can you hold? Like
Exactly. What are you willing to leverage or and then like you said, how patient are you? Because so many people, even people that are decently well off, like just especially around this time with everything going on in the world, like have sold off a few things just as a padding or as a cushion, and it's like that's like all the type of perseverance that you have to have is that even with everything going on, if you're really in it for the big bucks, because I know personally a lot of whales that are buying up right now, right? They're like slowly creep. Like I think there was a lot of buying action maybe a few weeks ago, but now they're just waiting because they're like, okay, could be dipping a little more, but like there's floors that they won't want to see ever again. Do you know what I mean?
and that's good that you said that because I think people need to hear that. Like
Yeah.
if I was a whale and I was sitting on a couple 100,000 gems right now, what I would be doing, and this is what I've been telling people, what I think is happening, that you're just watching the floors. How low can they go before you swoop in? You don't want to swoop in and then have them dip more. You're trying
Yeah.
to find that bottom, you're trying to see, all right, well, could they go lower? You're just trying to find that entry point. And I think because there's not that buy pressure yet, that's what's getting people scared. And like, oh, is it sinking? Is like I've heard is VeVe crashing so many times,
Same. Yeah.
like it's just when I hear that I start to get excited again. I'm like, oh, we really, because I say we're early all the time, and
Yeah.
it's easy to have the distractions come in, like, oh, we're not early anymore, 2 million users, but all this FUD happens. I still get they're not real NFTs because you can't see the history yet. It's like, oh my gosh,
When's it going to stop? It won't stop.
it
Like
won't.
even when
Yeah.
they're $1 million assets, just somebody will still have something to complain about.
Yep, exactly. And the thing is, like, I love some of these collectibles. Like, it's really brought the collector out in me, like the Batman, the Superman stuff. It's to the point
Bro,
where I've even said a lot. Yeah, exactly, bro. Let's go. The
like this
physical.
guy, I don't know what it is, man, but every time I look at this, I just get such a good feeling. By the way, check this mint number out, 999.
Wow,
So if
that's
you ever see that, let me know.
Yeah, you got to find the digital. Be careful putting that one back on
Yeah.
stream, on video.
Yeah,
Not the
true.
comics in crypto.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mine's still injured. My comic book's still injured.
Yeah, tell me about that story. It like fell or something?
So it was when I was doing my video with Sean, and I wanted to. They actually gave me, shout out to Sean too, because he sent me over one of
Such
the
a good
two
guy.
comics. Yeah, one of the two comics is up there. My other guy, Tyler Gear, sent me over this comic, the one that's on VeVe too. So that's
Oh,
what I have.
sick.
But yeah, so because I was getting interviewed by the comic guru himself, I wanted to bring down my comic book and show him, and I was showing it to him, and I just nonchalantly put it back up there, and it just slipped right down. And like on my floor, it's all covered in rug except for the very, very sliver edge right up against the wall. It's like just cement. And it literally just slid all the way straight down, right on the slab of cement. And it was pretty loud bang, but I was just like, no way. I looked at it real quick, thought it was fine. After the stream, I saw like the corner was cracked. I was like, no. I cracked the slab. I was like, oh my gosh, king of the drops.
But perfect example as to why NFTs, are so important is that, like, look at that. That's an expense. Like, I know that's at least, I don't know, at least $500-600. Is that what, a 9.0?
9.0. So I only paid, I think it was 300 for it.
Well, that's pretty solid. Well, we're,
you
we're also Canadian here too. So we
oh
pay
yeah,
an
so
extra 150 for everything that you pay 300 to,
Yeah, so it would be a little bit
Yeah.
more. Yeah, it's probably, and right now too, it's probably about 400 or 500 anyway. So.
Wow, nice. But it's just funny because, like, on VeVe, like, this is the whole thing about immortalizing and having an NFT that can stand the test of time, is you don't have to worry about those things. Like, even for me, I'm like, I guess, like, what am I gonna start doing? Like, I've got boxes here with all my collectibles, and I'm like, okay, like, but this is all I want on my shelf, and I'm like, maybe I'll rotate it,
I
but
get a bigger shelf. You got to be like David Yu, that's only a little bit.
yeah,
Put the camera up, and it's like got the whole warehouse.
few warehouses, bro. How crazy was that interview with him, eh?
That was awesome. Shout out to David Yu.
Yeah. Like, if you want a guy leading a company, that's the guy,
And I think he just gives off such a good, vibe and just image. Like, this is what collecting is all about. It shows, he's showing us what collecting is all about at the same time. And it's just fun to kind of dig through all the teasers he may leave, like on his Instagram posts. Like, I always tell new people who tune into the live streams all the time, like, go on David Yu's Instagram and just look through the posts. You may see something that may get your mind racing. Like, wait, do we really have this? Or, this was teased. Like, I'll never forget. I think I'll try to bring up the picture real quick while I talk about it. Before we had Star Wars, David Yu posted, back in like March, he had a Star Wars shirt on by his DeLorean. And I was like, oh, no way, he did not. He's doing that on purpose. There's no way he just chose a Star Wars shirt next to the DeLorean. I was like, we have Star Wars, and this is back before Marvel. Even we had Marvel, like Marvel comics,
right?
Like, that was like a new thing. We didn't even imagine having Marvel or comic books on the VeVe app. And so when I saw this is the picture right here. I think you guys can see. Oh,
yep,
that's it right there. Legendary. Once Star Wars got announced, I posted the picture because I didn't post it for a while. I didn't want Cavell to see it and ruin the moment, ruin the license. Because shout out to Cavell. I'm sure everybody would see if he made a video on it. And so I kept it quiet. As soon as they made the announcement, I was like, let's go. I knew they had it.
Star Wars, baby. And it's funny that you say that, because even in our interview, he kind of joked around Steamboat Willie. Like, he talked about a Mickey that he had in the background. And then
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, and a lot of people were writing afterwards being like, see, like, so they're always dropping hints. And Pokemon, bro, every time people bring up Pokemon, they troll so hard, which makes me even more bullish about Pokemon. Like, they're not like, hey, stop it with that. They're like, well, did you say Pokemon with like eyes? And I'm like, what? Right. Yeah.
It's one of those words where it's like, I almost hesitate to bring up that P word because it's got the community, going crazy. I don't want to. It's almost like every time we bring it up, it's almost like people are let down if that's not dropped right away. So it's true. I try not to bring it up too much, but you're right. I mean, I definitely think they don't have it. They'll have it eventually. I mean, the way I see it is, Alfred, kind of like what you talked about being immortalized, like a lot of these digital collectibles.
Yeah.
Alfred Kahn, I feel like his whole legacy is going to be riding off in the sunset, having all the brands that he helped start, work on, be immortalized forever on the blockchain, digitally on the VeVe app. And so I think every brand that Al Kahn was a part of, made happen, I could definitely see it on the VeVe app one day. That's kind of how I see
I
this
love that.
whole legendary legacy. That's how I see it happening. But
Yeah.
again, it may take some time, because a company like Disney is probably laying out what's year 4 look like right now. What's year
Yeah.
5 look like? It's kind of hard to think about, but they're not here just for like a year or like 6 months and okay, that was it for the NFT buzz. We're gone. Like, no,
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, you gotta imagine too, bro. Like Disney's used to probably shipping costs, packaging, manufacturing. They're looking at VeVe right now, like, wait, we just sold how much? How quick? Wait, let's do that again. Valentine's Day? Like,
Golden moments, baby. No, you're totally right, bro. And it's funny that you say that because I was actually going to ask you about the lenticular cards because I was looking at Mickey and Friends and it's an $84 billion industry. I think it's the third largest next to Hello Kitty and Pokemon for franchises. And
wow.
I was like, bro, Mickey and Friends, like, despite there not being like a first appearance, so to speak, it's still the first time it hits the blockchain. It's friggin', Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, I mean, Goofy, Pluto, like all, like it's literally the
Legendary.
embodiment. Yeah. So I was just curious, like, and that's what's kind of scary sometimes because it's like that from a collecting principle and from like a, from like a mathematical standpoint and the size of the IP, you would just presume that they would be a lot higher than where they're at. And so I'm kind of like, is that just because, community's kind of tapering off right now, or should we still be extremely bullish on them? Or is it because they're cards,
Yeah, so it is kind of interesting. I would say if they don't boom, it's probably just because of the cards, almost like a 2D. For some reason, the posters on VeVe don't do too well, but I'm extremely bullish on them. I've been saying a lot to the people who tune into the live streams that I think once the market kind of booms again, these first edition cards are going to go big time because first edition, first appearance, I feel like first edition got a lot of negativity when a lot of collectibles got the FE instead of FA. But they really made a point to say, it's a brother and sister type thing. One's just the character, like the actual person in that digital format, and one's could just be the artwork of that character or like the vehicle or something like that. So, like you said, legendary characters, Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, first edition. You're telling me that's not $1,000 already? Like a lot of people have been asking my prediction for those cards, and I've been one to say I think every single one of those Disney first edition cards is going to be over 1,000 gems,
Right.
$1,000. I still think that I'm still confident in that prediction, just because we're going to see series 2, we're going to see series 3,
Yeah.
series 4, and that's always going to be series 1. And I'm sure there's going to be other, artwork of anytime I see first edition, first appearance, I'm under the assumption that one day there's going to be another Wonder Woman that isn't first appearance. There's going to be another Batman that's not first appearance. There's going to be another one of those that's not first edition. So I think it's almost safe to say, in my opinion, not financial advice, that they will do well. I do think so.
Well said, Johnny. And I think that's the interesting thing is that a lot of people think that when they mint more and more collectibles that are after the same character, that'll dilute the quality. But I think it would just actually increase the price of the first ever ones, because everything after that is just a subsequent, almost like a carbon copy of that initial, right?
I think you just talked about this one of your videos I was watching, like
Yeah.
Pokemon cards, like first edition Charizard, chalk it up. That's a big win right there.
Yeah.
But if you get a Charizard, like my grand, or not my grandkid, my nephew, my sister's kid has a bunch of Charizards. They're not worth what the first edition Charizard is because they still make them.
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing I think is going to happen with these collectibles. They're still going to make a lot of these, but they're not going to be FEFA. The same thing like we're seeing, like the stamps, perfect example with the stamps. Like I'm really bullish on those first stamps still, because I think, once we see all these different holiday stamps, well, what was the first stamps ever? Series 1, first edition, Day of the Dead stamps. And so I got a few of those.
Yeah.
I did stock up on those.
But
I got a few of them.
Johnny, you're so smart, because that's exactly what I was going to allude to. Like if you look at that cards, like on the top, the one in the middle is about $450, but there's one on the left that's a PSA 10 Charizard from 2020, and it's like literally $40. Or you can go buy the first edition Shadowless Charizard PSA 10 for $360.
Yeah,
260,000, right?
$500,000.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just funny, and that's like real money we're talking, right? Like people actually spend that. And so like, and that's the principles that we always talk about. It's the same thing with comic books. It's the same thing with CryptoPunks, ETHROX, you know, like all these different things have been built on those like principles and premises. And so we're just drawing those same parallels with VeVe. And I think like, you know, that's why I think Todd did so well. And that's why I think all these other ones are doing so well. But I think it's an important concept for people to kind of drive home, because it is a safeguard. And
Absolutely.
without it, you know, without FEFA, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still great. You can still buy it, but you might not be buying it for like an investment purpose. It might be more for your own, you know, enjoyment, right?
Right. And see, that's also kind of how I see VeVe expanding, because right now their target demographic, well, the demographic that's on it, I believe, is almost like 25 to 35 or 35 to 40, a little bit older than what they expected, basically. And so I think in the future, it's going to kind of get a little bit younger. And how they do that, I think the older generations of people probably have a little bit more money. So they're willing to, you know, treat this as some investment type things, when the younger generation, the younger kids may look at not so much that much money, but they just want cool things to play with type thing. So
Right.
kind of like why I see the first appearance, first edition being that safeguard, is because that's like cemented in history, first ever. And of course, the series twos, the next ones that follow it, they're going to still want to sell the collectibles. So they're going to make that one still look amazing. Maybe that one has a sicker or a cooler animation to it, or a cooler colorway, but that's still the first one ever. This is like the first edition. So I feel like in the future, maybe to have like high school kids play with a lot of these collectibles, they have a run of like, you know, 100,000 editions, 200,000 editions, but it's not FA, it's not FE, but it's a collectible you can use in this game that's on this app type thing, to where you can still have fun playing with it, but it's not that investment type piece that's going to be your first edition Batman. Like that's going to be legendary. I think you touched it on too in one of your videos, to where the FE is not on a lot of these collectibles anymore.
Yeah.
That's going to be like that error, like the shadow. That's going to be like the shadowless. That's going to be like the shadowless.
Yeah.
Cards and stuff like that.
You're right. And like there's such few that have had that. And like now that VV's kind of cemented what their position is on the labeling, like, bro, it's not like they're going to make that mistake twice. So, you know, anybody that can capitalize on that now is going to be laughing later, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it's one of those things where mistakes tend, like, that was something that I never knew. Like, March was such a crazy time for me last year, because I had to learn so much information in such a small amount of time in order to capitalize on it. Like, I had to learn what VEVE, Ecomi, David, Dan, all that was, but I had to learn. I had Pokemon cards. Luckily, like I grew up collecting them kind of, but then got away from them. I think I just did it at the time, but then stopped playing with them or whatever the case was. Found them all. I didn't understand, didn't have the knowledge of why some of these, like I have probably like $3,000 worth of Pokemon cards, maybe like
pretty solid.
Yeah, it's not bad. And at the time I was like, how do I sell these? And that's what led me down and found VeVe, because I was stuck with the physical cards. And once I saw that the digital blockchain, instantly it was like, oh, I said, this is like a digital PSA. And I was like, this is money right here. But so with the Pokemon cards, I didn't know what first edition meant. I was like, why is this? I have like a Machamp Pokemon card. It's still in the original wrapper too that it came in.
Same here.
And it's, oh, nice. Let's go.
Yeah.
And someone told me all those Machamps are first edition. So I didn't understand that concept, but that was one of the only first edition cards that I have. So I was like, okay, why is first edition more expensive? I didn't even understand that simple concept.
Right.
So like that was something I had to learn, but that just transitioned to, I mean, look at me with VeVe now, you would think that's like common knowledge for me, but that stuff I had to learn, you know, back then. More than a year ago, I didn't know that. So it's just crazy to see like what's transition now.
It's interesting that you say that, because it's like it almost appealed to, like, because the only reason it actually hit me like it did is because I saw that terminology. And so I was like, oh, wait, FA, FE. And I was like trying to do it in my head. I was like, first appearance of Batman. And then I was like looking up other NFTs on the blockchain that had Batman, but it was just like artists. Like it wasn't like an actually licensed. And then I was like, oh shit, like this is the one. And I was like, $80. I was like, okay, right. But it's interesting because those principles have now, like somebody like yourself comes in and now is, you know, a heavy collector and understands that more than anybody else. But it's amazing because we're also changing the entire ecosystem of NFTs. Like now, if like new NFT companies come out without the proper tags, people are like, oh, you missed the boat, or you don't understand this.
Right. You know? Absolutely. VeVe's definitely changing the game. And I think they're just so far ahead. Like these brands, I think people get it confused because they get worried. Oh, what if they come out with another one on a different app, on a different platform? And, in 10 years, they might, but these brands understand what they're giving out. They understand, if DC's giving out a FA Batman, they won't give an FA Batman to another platform because they already understand that they gave it to VeVe. Like that would just dilute their entire brand if that was the case. They gave out FA Batmans for everybody. Like,
Yeah.
it's like Aston Martin. They wouldn't just make their car, $5 and make 500,000 of them because that would just dilute their brand. Like,
Right.
so that's another reason why I think the FEs are so valuable, because no matter what in history, we have the FA Superman. We have the first appearance of Disney, Walt Disney, like with Mickey Mouse. Like, just name a popular character, and VeVe probably has it already out, released, and if not, just in the bag, tucked away, probably.
It's true, man. Amazing points, because you know what's funny about that? If another NFT platform came out with like Deadpool, people would be going crazy. Like, oh my god, Deadpool! But on VeVe, that's just a Monday. You know what I'm
It's just another Monday in VeVe world.
Yeah.
Wow, in the VeVe verse, just another Monday. Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So here's my thing I always think about is, when I was really into Pokemon, really into collecting, it was a very niche little world, right? And it was a bit of a peculiar world as well for my parents, because they're like, what the heck is this guy up to all the time? But now, like, Pokemon is cool. Now collecting is cool. And what is interesting about VeVe is they've taken the whole world of collecting and they've like put it into one store, so to speak. It's almost as if you like walked into the one and only store in the world that had like all the stuff that you've ever wanted. And it was the only place to buy, sell, trade, talk, all this stuff. And I'm like, that is literally what they've created, but now in the digital realm. Like, I don't think people understand how far they've gone and what they've actually done here. Like, this is amazing. Like, this is actually hard to believe. Do you know what I mean?
You're actually hitting the nail right on the head. You're right.
Yeah.
Normally, like, Pokemon is a phenomenon, right? But like, that's just like one section in the toy store.
Yeah.
And the whole toy store is the VeVe app. like it really is like walking into Amazon. If Amazon was a app, like, well, it is an app, but it's like walking into Amazon and being able to sell, own anything in the world. Like, just imagine, and VeVe's got the license to everything. Like,
Yeah.
one of the things I said back in last spring or summer, which sounds crazy because it's coming true. I said VeVe, and it was one of my Moon Boy sayings. I said it in a way because I it's crazy because, like, when I say these things, I understand how they're coming off, but I understand how legendary this is too. I was like, VeVe is Amazon when Amazon was only selling books. I was like, that sounds so crazy. It's like, oh yeah, sure, but it's like, no, wait, this really could be Amazon was really only selling books. People sold Amazon stock because they're taking way too long with their company. They're only selling books. There's Barnes and Noble, there's other companies out there, and it's like, well, just fast forward a little bit. Now Amazon sells everything, and like, how do they stand competition wise to Barnes and Noble? It's like Amazon is everything. Shout out to Barnes and Noble though too. I'm sure they're doing well, but yeah,
You're right. Like, it's literally like going to take over the space, and I don't think people understand how far ahead they are. And man, like, I just keep thinking about interoperability too. One of my biggest fantasies is like walking around in a secret rare Spider-Man suit, and my secret rare Spider-Man in like the friggin' metaverses that are like,
it's like your avatar.
Yeah, it's like my avatar. So imagine you're in the VeVe verse. You're like, all right, let me just take off. I'm gonna go check out Sandbox. I'm gonna check out another metaverse. And everywhere you go, you're instantly recognizable, because who the hell doesn't know Spider-Man, and who doesn't know what a first appearance is, right?
The Spidey suit probably has ability where you can just go right through. Like, everywhere you go, you just web through.
Yeah. And to me, I think that's one of the biggest things that is still hard for me to wrap my head around, is interoperability, because I think about like licensors and, what they're going to give you access to and what they wouldn't. Would it, their licenses expire after a few years? Like, how could you store it in your cold wallet? Like, there's so many things that, again, are still, on the roadmap and yet to come. But I think that's why I'm still bullish, because I'm like, I'm taking a chance here. And if this does work out, then you and I will be in Bugatti Veyrons, so to speak, in the metaverses.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And like you said, you touched on the cold wallets right there. I think one thing people have forgotten a little bit is that Ecomi has said that, they have the Ecomi secure wallet right now. I think it costs $200. Obviously sells out like a drop. But that's just for like the crypto, holds OMI, but all crypto. but they've also touched on, this is what keeps getting forgot about, I think, their other wallet for their NFTs. That's going to come out too. And it's going to be about that $20 to $30 range, to where it's going to be, you can't store all your crypto, but you can store your OMI and your VeVe NFTs on there, which is actually game changing.
Wow.
That's literally a cold storage for your NFTs, but you won't get the master collector program points, but that's going to be a game changer. I feel like.
So, dude, I actually had little to like, I heard about that, but I didn't know too much about it. And that's an amazing point you bring up, because I know for me personally, like I'm more concerned about just holding these things for the long term. So I would actually just pull it out and just keep it on that and just like
Absolutely. I think
lock
a
it
lot of
away.
people would do maybe a
Yeah.
couple of them. Like I know people with multiple secret or Spideys. I'm sure they would probably put one, tuck it away. And like my wallets, like if I have two of them, I might just tuck away a walt.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a little vault in that closet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like depends on, or I rent it out, like you said, or
Yeah.
but you got options at least at that point. And that's what I think people want.
Yeah,
People
you're
want
right. I
that
forgot about the
option.
renting aspect, like staking and all that stuff. But that's incredible that they're on the way with that, because I do think that's a huge game changer. And imagine what the marketplace would look like after that. Like just like 4 secret rare Spider-Mans left. Like you're
Just
just
really
like,
go extinct.
yeah, right.
And I
Yeah,
think, like you said, I think people just want those options, like the MTL. People want that option to be able to withdraw. It doesn't mean you're going to,
yeah,
but knowing that you can at any point is a big difference, as opposed to knowing you can't do it just yet. And I look at OpenSea. Why do people like OpenSea? Not for their NFTs, but because it's liquidable. And
yeah.
so that's why I think people get it twisted when they say, "Oh, once VeVe becomes liquidable, it'll be terrible." It's like, no, you don't get it. We just waited for a whole year just for that option to become liquidable. That's why you guys love OpenSea. Like the
Yeah.
NFTs haven't changed. The NFTs, I believe, are better on VeVe. It'll become liquidable.
Right.
So I think that's what people are waiting for.
Man, that's so fascinating that you say that, because I think so many ETH whales don't really care about $40,000 in fiat. Do you know what I'm trying to say? For them, when they're holding like millions, if not tens or even hundreds of millions of crypto, they're like, okay, whether it's 40 or 80, I just want to make sure that this is legitimate. I can come in and out, and then I could do OMI to NFT or whatever, and then I'll be able to spend the big bucks. And it's funny that you say that, because like in Pokemon, because it's a less expensive world, there's more like kids involved. Like, these kids will like open packs, and then if they get something like a really good card, then they'll sell it for like 350. Then I'm the guy that buys it from them and gets it graded. And it's like, that's the next iteration. And that's how whales are. Like we're right now all the VeVe kids that are
Yes,
like,
exactly. And that's so funny. And it's you hit the nail on the head, literally. And the OGs were the VeVe kids. It's like
yeah,
that's kind of that same similarity. It's like, who's gonna be the ones to hold on this whole time, and who's gonna
yeah. I don't
just
care
do it.
about opening packs and paying all this time. I'm like, give me the best card. And that's what I mean. Like at the next level, these big whales are going to come in and say, okay, tell me the 5 best items. Okay, I want all these, and I'll pay whatever for them, and then just throw them away. Right.
Right. Like that
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if people are kind of scared of like, or is the NFT industry space gonna pop? Like, I think the bubble could pop on a lot of NFTs, but the difference with VeVe, like is these aren't just random NFTs, These
Yeah.
are these aren't just like a drawings randomly. Like these are, licensed NFTs, licensed digital collectibles from the biggest brands in the world, whether it's digital or it's physical. Now I want to collect Batman. I want to go get a Superman statue. I really want an all gold Walt statue now. So it's like,
Yeah.
just because the NFT as a whole bubble may pop, doesn't change the fact that I still want to collect Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Walt Disney now. Like
Right.
I'm gonna want to collect it, and I'm gonna want to collect it digitally because the ease of access is there. I always said digital collecting is going to become the most obvious trend in the world in the next couple of years. The same way digital music streaming is like, how do you listen to music now? Apple Music, Spotify, maybe YouTube streaming. Literally just like 5 years ago, people would be like, I don't know if it's gonna last. Like music streaming is like a fad. It's like, no, it just is. It was a fad. Maybe it was like sketchy when Napster was here,
Yeah.
LimeWire was here. That was the wild, wild west days with digital music streaming, and it feels just like OpenSea days.
Damn, that's well said, bro. That's exactly how it feels right now.
Like shout out to OpenSea. Like they have a lot of good stuff on there from artists. Like shout out to It's Wonderful, a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
way you
yeah.
can like have independent artists make their like way that way. I mean, it's gonna blow up. I think I think photography is the next big thing. I know a couple of people in the photography world right now, in the real world, who I've been trying to get them to be like, what is this NFT space? And it's got them kind of the light bulbs going off. And I'm like, that's going to be a game changer. Because any artist, any creator, painters out there, but it's got everything. The Wild Wild West, some good stuff, some bad stuff. The same way LimeWire and Napster, you find, not music videos on there. You find
Yeah.
everything on there, right? And what happened? That got regulated and it turned into premium licensed digital music collections. iTunes, Spotify, Apple.
Johnny, you're smashing it right now, bro. Like I'm literally getting goosebumps. That's exactly what's happening. Like that is such a perfect example. Did you use that example before? Or is this new to the channel?
I've been saying this in my live streams.
Oh, okay.
So I've got it down.
I didn't hear this yet because this is good. Yeah.
So because it's literally just, it's almost like it's so, I can see it so vividly to where I say it all the time. Like the people who always tune in my lives, like they probably like, Johnny, shut up. We know it. Like OpenSea is MySpace, or MySpace was another good example, not LimeWire, but like MySpace was kind of that same example because they never adapted. They just stayed stagnant. They never transitioned. They watched Facebook. I joined Facebook in 2007 when everybody was still on MySpace. Like all my friends were on MySpace and it was popping because there was music. It was colorful. Facebook was a thing for college kids and it was just a black or a blank white screen. Like there was just nothing. And so I knew at the time, I was like, this is not it. MySpace is it. But this seems early. Like I was on it that early. I got a feel for it. And so I was just early to things and could kind of see like, okay, this could be it, just not yet. Instagram was another one. Instagram seems like it's been around forever, right? It seems like for years now, but I got on Instagram early and I should have went hard on Instagram, but I didn't. I kind of was just like, it's just pictures, whatever. The people that grinded on Instagram, probably hundreds of thousands, millions of followers now. And it's like a career. And that's how I see VeVe right now. VeVe is Instagram when people are like, the status,
NFTs,
the feed stinks. Why are you on the? It's like, because I'm grinding right now for followers. The same way you're going to be grinding for followers when I'm at 1 million. Like, that's what I was saying to people. But yeah, man, I've got that rehearsed now, probably about the line.
Because I was like, that like hit me, bro. Like I was like, whoa, this is a perfect example. But it's funny. Like I think what was really interesting about what you're saying is like, the markets have changed, but the products haven't. So those squiggly wiggly lines and NFTs that you see for like 3 ETH or 50 ETH, or like, these like licensed blue chip NFTs. I mean, which ones do you think are going to stand the test of time? Not 3 to 5 weeks, but what is going to stand to the next 10 years, right?
Right, exactly. That's what you have to think of, because things are going to go up and down. Like you see the world's in, chaos right now, tension all over the place, and you don't know what's going to happen out in the world, but Batman's going to still be here in the next 10 years. Superman's still going to be here. Like people are, and the stuff on, the random stuff out there, I don't know if it's going to be here or not. I don't want to take my chance with that. So, but yeah, man, I definitely see this turn into, because it's going to get regulated at some point. It's going to be cracked down there, because right now, I mean, you could make a painting of Batman and sell it, and it could be not licensed Batman, and sure, that's not going to be a thing in the future where you probably are going to be able to get away with.
Totally agree, bro. And I think you're right. Like that, like the LimeWire example, just coming back to that quickly, is right now we're trading our NFTs and we're doing all these different things with them. Some people are selling them offline, and it's all this crazy stuff happening. KYC, obviously the innovation has gone past the point of regulation, and now it's got to catch up. But the incredible part to that is that, right now is the opportunity, to become, somebody extremely successful. And like the one thing that I've said to people is like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like this doesn't, like, I'm not expecting to get on something like this next year. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Crazy. Exactly, bro. It probably it felt like that when you first found it too. Whatever day in March you found it. Like when I found this, I was practicing golf 3 times a day. I was literally, because a lot of things I was trying to do in life really weren't working out for me. So I was like, I'm going all in on golf. And so for a few months, in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night, I'm at the golf course 3 times a day. I find VeVe March 1st. I didn't leave my house. That's not an exaggeration. Like I went crazy mode. I felt like I found gold in like downtown, and everyone's just walking past it right now. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like pacing around my house, Googling. Mom's like, you gotta get some sleep. Like, I'm like, Mom, no, I gotta find more about this. This is going crazy. Like, it felt red hot. And it's
Yeah.
crazy too, because the videos I was watching were from like 2018. So
Wow.
I'm trying to dig up information that's already been out there for years, but Pokemon just happened, finding my cards, being stuck trying to sell them. Like, I was like, there has to be something better than waiting 12 months for a company to tell me this is authenticated. Like,
Yeah.
PSA, I felt like was that old school authentication, verification. The blockchain is that new school digital authentication, ownership, boom. And
Right.
so Alcon and these Ecomi 2018 videos talking about that. I think I stumbled on that video just based on trying to learn NFTs from Gary Vee preaching it in 2020. I missed a bag on NBA Top Shot. I could have been like probably first 1,000 people on NBA Top Shot too. I found it.
Wow.
I found it late summer in 2020, and I didn't get it. Like, I didn't get it at all. Like, and then later that winter, like December happened. LeBron James moment selling for like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm like, what is happening? Like,
Yeah.
get out of here. I don't understand this at all. The same thing I just saw on Sports Center. The
Right.
same thing so like, I was part of the masses who didn't get NFTs. And then
Mhm.
so Logan Paul dropped his NFT like around February, January. So I started to understand a little bit more that like creators can do their own NFT. Now I'm like, okay. So I think just the combination of like search history kind of led me down finding that Ecomi 2018 Alcon video that really just hit home. Like, I said, aha. Like, I had that aha moment right away. And
Wow.
it was a blessing. It was a
Man.
blessing.
It's amazing, bro. It's so cool that you actually saw the inauguration of Top Shots, because I saw it too. And I didn't really believe in it at the time, because I just thought, what are moments? And especially for insignificant basketball players. Well, no, I shouldn't say it like that, but just people that aren't necessarily legends. And I
Right.
was like, so I'm just interested in things that, like, you know, the majority of the population is going to ensure that they remember in 5 to 10 years.
The LeBron crazy dunk or
Exactly.
buzzer
Like some,
beater three,
right.
not the random player who might not be here in 2 or 3 years assist. Like,
Exactly.
uh,
Like, what does that really mean in the grand scheme of things? And that's the same thing on VeVe. It's like, okay, you know, like, there's going to be drops. No offense to anybody that's coming on the VeVe app, but I don't think that a certain NFT might last forever. As other ones, I'm like, no, for sure, this is something that's, you know, going to stand the test of time. And I think that's that, like, when Gary Vee says 99% of VeVe NFTs will fail except for that 1%, I'm like, that makes sense. And the funniest thing that I saw on your Twitter was when Gary Vee was like, all these NFTs, and he was talking about Top Shots, literally like ripping it a
oh,
new
right.
one. And then he's like, it's not like we're talking Batman or Superman here. And then
Unbelievable. And that was the moment, he made that video in like mid to late March. And so this is still when I'm like still like on my research grind, like still trying to find everything. And so when I heard, because I've been watching Gary Vee for like a decade. I've been grinding since like 2011, and he's been one that's really been a motivation to me, because you hear from all types of people you graduated with, just the outside pressures of society. A lot of my friends moving out. I'm still living at home right now. So like, it's been a battle mentally to stay convicted and grinding on things I really love. And so Gary Vee has been a huge motivation in that. Like, he talks about how he didn't really start his life until 30 years old. And so
right.
him kind of just preaching, I was always following his videos. He talked about that video saying, not every, it's Top Shot as a macro, great job, a pioneer in the space,
Right.
the team that runs it, great people that run the team. But in the micro, he doesn't know how it's going to do. He said he gave it an overrated in the micro, because not every player is LeBron James.
Yeah.
People may get left holding the bag on that random assist, and it's not like it's got the IP of Batman or Superman. And I rewinded that clip so many times. I was like, he said that. He said Batman or Superman as VeVe. And so I was like,
Yeah.
Courtney, I was like, I thought Gary Vee knew at the time. And so I was just nonstop spamming him over and over again. I was like, VeVe. I was like, man. So I knew VeVe was it, man.
Yeah. Bro, I mean, that's incredible. What a cool story. Especially, like, I'm a huge fan of Gary Vee as well, and like all these celebrities, and like, man, some of the things that we dreamed about back in March, like, came to life. Like when Lewis Morgan DM'd me, bro, on Instagram, I was like, what the hell do you want to talk to me for, bro?
Crazy.
You
Shout out
know?
to Lewis, man.
Yeah, and it's so cool. And it's like, okay, so we're at this next phase, but in the future, Johnny, I mean, maybe you're having a conversation with Gary Vee about Batman and Superman, because it's not that crazy now,
Absolutely, man. I think you're
Yeah.
right. And through this journey, I think the connections that we all meet and, get to know everybody, that's going to be a huge, factor in this whole thing. It's going to be part of the journey. And,
Yeah.
people like Lewis Morgan, I mean, shout out to him for even having the vision and everything. I love people like that because, someone like his caliber with the kind of money he's got to have the vision though. Like, how many people who probably, or almost not how many people, but there's going to be other people similar to that to maybe pass on VeVe because they didn't do the research. They
Right.
didn't, take the time to learn to get into this. And people like that who have the vision, who took the time to research, he probably said, I don't know anything about this. Let me learn about this. You know how many people with that kind of money are ego headed to say, I know everything in the world. No, I can't. I don't know it. That's not going to work. It's like,
Right.
no, I don't know this now. Now let me dive into this new thing and let me learn this. And that's the stuff that motivates me because I've always said I'm a constant student. I'm a constant student. If I don't know something, I'm going to be a sponge
Right.
and just try to learn as much as I can. I'm not going to be the person say, nah, I know everything, like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't.
Yeah. No, you're right, man. And like that's amazing about Lewis because he's so humble yet so successful, and he's still willing to put himself in that vulnerable position, right? And it's funny because I have another friend. He's like a big millionaire investor. Ecomi homies on Twitter, and he's one of the like smartest people I know. And he's always telling me too, he's like, despite your collecting principles that you have and the parallels you're driving to the physical world, he's like, some of this stuff, when it does pop, won't make sense. Like you'll get like the crypto guys that are just like Labracorn to the moon or lumpy space to the moon, or like something so random that like almost like, GameStop stock, right? Like when like they were like,
That's all it takes.
yeah, just and so I think that's the other thing that I'm like a lot more open about because originally I wasn't as open to some of the decon stuff and some of the artists and all that. But now I'm like, no, wait a second here. Like these could be new and upcoming amazing NFTs, that we just can't see yet because they don't compare to the blue chips. But how do you think blue chips got to where they are? They were once like that. They were once nothing.
Todd was once 300, once 150.
Exactly.
Yeah. New
Right.
era,
Batman
new
was
levels.
once
Yeah.
whatever. Nobody knew about it. And then people started, and then movies came out. And then also now Batman is this huge thing. So it's like, that's what I think about VeVe, like these new artists coming on too. They could be massive, in 5 to 10 years from now.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I like the fact that they chose a lot of these artists because some of them are well known and some of them aren't as well known. So it gives
Right.
them an opportunity to kind of thrive in the ecosystem with, being a part of an app that has the brands of Disney. Because now Disney fans who aren't, never heard of this artist now gets to check out this artist because it's on that same platform. And like your friend said on Twitter, we might just blow us out of the minds, crazy prices, because every time I think about this digital world, like think of some of these comics, for example, ready? Think of the prices of some of these comic books in the real world, right? Hundreds of thousands, if not millions, some of them. And that's only comic collectors. That's only comic collectors in the physical world. Well, what happens now when you have everybody who has an iPhone turns into a comic collector? It's like, whoa, now the demand didn't just double, didn't just triple. It literally got everyone who has an iPhone is now a comic, well, not exactly, but you get the point to where anyone who's holding a phone can become a digital collector, and it's going to get them at least somewhat interested in it. May not become a fan, but a lot more likely than before. So,
Man, I love that point you make because like with a comic book, how are you going to show your friends, especially during COVID? You're going to take a picture of a physical comic that you bought and you're like, look at this, what I got. He first of all has to be a comic person. He can't just be, and he's got to be into it. And then with VeVe, it's like you're getting the social element. You're getting the fact that you could speak to other people that aren't interested in comics, but still appreciate it because they're in the same NFT space as you. Social capital, like you said, I feel like I can't even think about all the things that it's like a snowball effect. It's like exponential.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's ease of access for me too, because
Mm.
like going to the store, like you have to find, like, I don't even know where the comics. I'm sure I have a local comic store in my town, but I don't know where it is. I never even thought about going to one before VeVe. I'm on my phone all day, so it's like I can now collect on my phone. I don't have to worry about anything else. I think the ease of access just makes everybody a collector. So it's gonna make the demand a lot more, I think.
Another great point, bro. I feel like that's why VeVe has been so successful, because they literally made NFTs the most simplistic concept in the world by literally going, buy now, you've got an NFT. Bro, think about the amount of earn to play games, like blockchain games like Axie Infinity, where you literally have to set up like 5 to 6 wallets, like do all these swaps. Like, you know, I remember one time somebody sent me crypto and it was like wrapped BNB coin. And I remember I had to go through like Pancake
Right.
Swap. I had to do something to my wallet to change it. I was like, this is ridiculous, right? So they killed that on that part.
Yeah, it's like you can figure it out if you go through roundabout, jump through all the hoops, but it's like
Yeah.
someone like me who didn't understand NFTs, I wasn't into crypto. I want everything right here. I want the ease of access,
Yeah.
boom. And I know I'm not alone because I was never into the crypto space. I was never into the hardcore collecting space. I am one of your average people walking down the street who is not into this. So it's like that's also a play in my mind to where it's like, okay, if I love this, I know other people are gonna like this around the world. So
Yeah.
for me.
VeVe kind of reminds me of like an Apple product, like the ease of use, the accessibility, as like, you know, OpenSea is
Yes.
more like PC or something where you can do all the back end stuff, right? Like it's just like
Yeah.
they've made it that user experience simplistic for your like use and your ease of access. And I think that's really going to be the number one driver, bro, and that's why I think like we're seeing so many things. And another big comparison I just want to make quickly on Top Shots is, you know, Top Shots, like you said, is basketball and it's moments within basketball, as VeVe is like, you know, hundreds of brands, hundreds of licenses. It's like the whole world of stuff. It like Top Shots could be one small section in
It could
VeVe.
be a Monday.
Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say? All right, we got LeBron coming out now. Like, I mean, that'd still be pretty sick, but it wouldn't, like, that's how VeVe encapsulates Dapper Labs in a sense, the way that I see it, right? Yeah.
Literally, Dapper Labs could be a drop on VeVe.
Yeah. Yeah, like
It's
it would be
because
sweet, right? If they could start like engulfing other NFT platforms, like we'll buy you and you can come, like that could be a thing too. I don't even think about that, but
I never even thought about that either until you
Yeah.
just said that. That's a whole nother dynamic to it.
right.
And you know, I always thought about where as a big brand, like if you're not on VeVe already, it's almost like you're losing out because as like, okay, we have Disney on the app. That just brought in hundreds of thousands of Disney fans. If you're not on the VeVe app, you're missing out on all that extra marketing right there because all the Disney fans are checking out everything else that's on the app. So it's like it's going to get to the point where if you're not on the VeVe app, you're losing out big time.
Man, that's such a good point. And if you're an artist that gets on the VeVe app, you've automatically made it.
Yeah,
right?
for real, absolutely.
25,000 editions, like
sold out second.
yeah, right.
I admit the first sellout, the first week for Disney was mind-boggling. It was probably so eye-opening to them to where, like, you know, if shout out to anyone who is on like the, you know, part of the people who make a lot of the Disney collectible toys, the manufacturing group or all that, because I bet Disney as a corporation sent back for the first time, kind of like what we said earlier in the live, like just talking about like they're probably thinking like, we just made X amount of millions in how many seconds without having to ship one physical item. We didn't have to make a single physical item. Like it's mind-blowing. It's like it's a moment in history for a lot of people because it's like this is revolutionary. This is the same thing. This is like the moment when people who are responsible for physical CDs. Like I remember record labels, like as an artist, you would sign to a record label because they would help with the distribution of, you know, selling your CDs everywhere. Now, like that's not even a concept to people. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean you're selling CDs? Like,
yeah. But you're right. It's the same iteration, is it not? Like that's a perfect example. Is like CDs is kind of the transition we are now into like the, you know, LimeWires kind of stuff, right? It's like the same concept. It's like this digital stuff, which was once in games, which was once just kind of, you know, just a concept, is now becoming reality and ownership and all that. And it's funny because, you know, I was playing, I don't know if you've heard of the game CSR2. It's like a drag race game from Zynga. It's like on your phone.
okay.
And I'm like basically drag racing cars all the time. And then they're like, oh, do you want to go buy this car for $20? I'm like, fuck that. Like, I'd rather buy an NFT for 10 grand.
Right.
Because it's like, I don't own it. If the game gets deleted, it's gone. But trust me, if that was like, if I had ownership, I would buy some of these cars, you know?
Right. Exactly. If you could buy the Aston Martin in that game and own it, and that's licensed by Aston Martin, then it's like, why not? Yeah. Another thing too that made me have the aha moment with VeVe, kind of what you're saying right now with the video games, obviously like Grand Theft Auto 2, but Snapchat, because a couple years ago they had like these AR filters, and I literally remember people my age that I was like in college, people were literally buying like $5, $10, sometimes $20 for an augmented reality filter if it was like a mustache. And I'm like, you're literally buying that? You just take a picture with it and that's it. You don't own that filter or anything. So I
Right.
remember people are literally spending like money, like probably up to $100 on just an augmented reality filter. And I was like, so I knew that going into VeVe. So once I realized the augmented reality, but you owned it, I was like, oh, this is a no brainer. I was like,
Yeah.
like buy. I was like, because people are already buying digital augmented reality stuff to show off their friends with, because you couldn't have this filter unless you paid $20.
Wow.
And so it was like a stunt, like, so I was like, oh, I've already seen this. This is just
Yeah.
with stuff I actually enjoy, like my childhood Batman. Now it's like,
Right.
I'm going to be showing off the people that are making fun of me. I'm going to be showing off my Batman to you guys. And you're going to be like, what? So
It's
like,
true.
yeah, that was just something that I noticed early on to give him even more confidence back then.
Wow. Man, amazing points. And I think I like, Fortnite and some of these games that are like paying, kids are paying like hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for some of these avatars and skins, right? And it's like, just goes to show me, and like now, like, well, what happens if you can actually own that? What if you can take that skin and put it in Grand Theft Auto, take it to Grand Theft Auto, put it in a metaverse, like, what, and just have it there in your cold wallet at the end of the day. To me, that's
Yeah.
where the future is. And like, right now I'm also like, I just got insurance for some of these NFTs, right? I don't know if you've done that yet, but yeah, my buddy works for insurance. So he's like, listen, man, like you should probably start like really like considering this, because if something happens, like, there's a little something that they could help with.
Yeah.
And it also just sounds cool, right? So it's
Yeah, like these are big time collectibles. I got insurance for these.
yeah.
That's great.
But it's amazing because like, my friends flex with their cars and their watches, and I'm like, I've got none of that. But I've got NFTs, man.
Right. And see, here's the thing, they may laugh, but it's like, okay, just answer this question. Are we going more into the digital world in the future? Or are we
Yeah.
going less into the digital world?
Right.
Every month, every year, these big time companies in the real world, you can bet every day they're studying, they're analyzing, how do we get involved in the metaverse right now? How do we get involved? Because it's just common sense. If you have history, if you have research that shows that an average person is spending majority of his day in the digital world, okay, I'm a company, I'm going to put some resources into a digital world. Then like, if everyone's spending most of their time in the phone in digital metaverses, whether it's Twitter,
Mm.
whether it's Facebook, Instagram, even email, like those are all just different metaverses digitally, just different, social
Yeah.
areas that we hang out in the digital world. It's just about to get immersive,
Right.
whether that's virtual reality, augmented reality. I think VeVe is actually going to help this space, because this whole metaverse is like kind of geared to get people soaked into the digital world. And
Mm.
VeVe, with the augmented reality ability, they have both. I think it's going to be a virtual and augmented reality. You're going to be able to come out of that metaverse to use your collectibles in whatever real world experience that you're in.
Mm.
Maybe it's, you zoom like we have right now. You can take your virtual showroom, which I'm sure the web app is going to have that whole metaverse digitally, but then you can come out and experience your showroom in the real world at the same time, like we do now. So I think it's just going to be a good way to kind of come out of that metaverse at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. And not be totally immersed, because I feel like that's the problem that I'm having, man, is like I have a hard time like prioritizing messages, because you get like hundreds a day, right? So your
Hard, man.
YouTube comments, Twitter spaces, like Instagram, and your Twitter's twice the size of mine. So I can't imagine just the upkeep alone. It's just like a full-time job.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the tough part. I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully in the future, VeVe is kind of like that. Everything's in VeVe. Like I've noticed it before the whole spam comments and everything like that. When we first found VeVe, I was on the VeVe app more than Instagram, Twitter, all these other platforms. And I mean, hopefully it gets to the point where just the majority is on VeVe, because it is tough.
Yeah.
I mean, just with all the different social platforms, YouTube comments, Twitter DMs, IG comments, DMs, like it does get a lot, man. Absolutely. And that's the toughest part, is balance. And for me, my whole life, I've struggled with balance. I've always been an all or nothing type person. It's been a blessing and a curse. Like I've said before, I don't know if we were recording or not, but I've always been so good at tunnel vision, putting the
Mhm.
blinders on and just going all in. And that's been great or bad, whatever I'm into. So it's one of those things where I've definitely struggled with balance, but I try my best. And I think the best thing is being aware, because once you're aware that you're not that great at balance, it's a little bit easier to incorporate it a little bit more, because you put an effort into trying to balance things a little bit more.
It's interesting that you say that because I'm exactly the same way. Like as soon as I found VeVe, it was like boom, 18 Tods within an hour, right? Like just like
Wait,
just
all in. I
yeah,
respect
just
that so much, man. I mean, that's legendary. You'll remember that for the rest of your life.
I will. I should have held on to those way like instead of moving them around for other things, but nonetheless, I still had that vision, right?
That's what matters, man. I mean,
Yeah.
even me, I mean, I had 7 at the time, but I don't have all 7. I have 3 left. I mean, we all sell things to build a collection more. I mean, you had real life things to take care of at the time. So I mean,
Yeah.
you bought a real house, man. I mean, don't ever
Yeah, and it helped.
negative.
Bro, like literally VeVe NFTs pretty much like paid for the entire down payment of my house, entire wedding. Like, you know what I mean? And so it's pretty remarkable to say that. And I'll always carry that with me. Like, somebody's like, hey, how did you pull this off? I'm like, well, thank God VeVe existed because
digital collectibles, man.
Yeah. So it's amazing, man. But yo, Johnny, bro, we've been chatting for a little bit and you're the man. Like I said to you again, bro, I'm a huge fan. I always come into your lives.
Too,
Thanks, Johnny. Like it's just been cool, like seeing us progress, and I can't believe some of the things that have happened, man. Like it's insane,
crazy,
right?
man. I can't wait till we can all meet up one day. I'm sure we're gonna have like a VeVe OG party in real life, man. It's gonna be it's crazy to think about, bro, because of like everybody in the VeVe community. It feels like everybody, we've known each other longer than just VeVe, or it was like all meant to be. It was like I always say to people, I didn't find VeVe. VeVe found me. Like it was perfect time in my life. And I feel like for so many people too, like it all feels like it came together, man. So, I just want to say I appreciate you, my man, for having me on again. It's been great to recap, reconnect. And man, what a ride, right? I'm sure we're gonna experience more ups and downs the whole way. So
yeah. And one of the coolest things that you ever said was actually, if anybody doesn't know, this was on the last interview. And I forgot what it was. We were probably April, May when we chatted. And Johnny's like, it's going to be Christmas at Christmas. And boy, did you ever hit that on the nail on the head? Because that's exactly what happened, right?
Bro, it was crazy. I think I just like stumbled my words. I was like, Christmas is just going to feel like Christmas, man. It really did. I mean, we saw how that late December, January run up. I mean, things were crazy. I mean, I was showing my parents the vault valuation, showing my grandma, and they believed it and they were in just disbelief at the same time. Like, like you were right. Like, and we always had those conversations like, why did my brother get in? Or why did my sister get in? Because I was trying to tell everybody, but I think everybody's just in the family's happy and they realize, this is just a blessing. It really has been an absolute blessing.
Well, Johnny, you're the king, brother. Keep it up. Like I said, you're the most consistent guy I know, most genuine guy I know. You've been smashing it. And let's do this again. Maybe not a year from now. Let's try to hit it up in a few months or something.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate that big time. We'll definitely link up a lot sooner. Absolutely.
Sounds good. Thanks again, Johnny.
Appreciate you, brother.
Take care, brother.